What's up, y'all? Sparta here. So, for this video, I finally want to get back to talking about the OnePlus 6T and how it's been holding up within the past almost like 3 years. Well, not almost 3 years, but over 2 years now. And what better time to talk about it than now, right? So, let's get into it. The main reason I want to bring this phone back up again is because, one, there's still a lot of people that use a OnePlus 6T, right? It's not like this mythical phone that just disappeared from the ether or anything like that. It's not common, but I do see it out and about every now and again, right? And it's something that I really do think is really cool because it's still a really good phone. So I guess comparing it to, like, say, modern flagships like the V60 here, or, even phones that came out a year after it, or not even a year, a few months after it technically, but like, say, the LG G8 and stuff like that, it still holds up really well. And I guess I'll talk about that when it comes to a lot of other things when I get into this here. So, overall, what do I think about the OnePlus 6T? It's still a very solid phone. You can find it for like $200 to $300. It's actually kept its value pretty well in terms of, like, say, resale value and stuff like that, which is really nice. Unfortunately, mine's is like a locked T-Mobile variant, but thankfully T-Mobile is an AT&T and they still allow the phone to get updates. without you needing to have their service, so it's not even that big of a deal. Like, say if it was a huge deal, I would have probably just got like an unlocked variant off of eBay or something like that. But it's still something that I can still get is updates, which I worried about, and I'm glad T-Mobile doesn't strong arm you with that. So yeah, and they come pretty timely. The only one that didn't come like timely was like the initial Android 10 update, which OnePlus was having problems with that. And my G8 got it, my G8 and my Note 10 got it before the 6T. And keep in mind, when I first got the 6T, it was already on Android 9 while other phones were on Android 8. So that was a bit lagging behind, but in terms of like updates, now it gets them pretty regularly. It doesn't get like security updates every month. It's like every other month because, carriers. And like compared to my unlocked Note 10, the Note 10 definitely does get monthly updates, even though it's taken forever to get this July patch. But it comparing one to the other, it's not really like that bad. Like compared to like the V60 where I can't really get updates at all unless I get a AT&T SIM card, it's night and day. So yeah, updates are still really good. The user interface is still really smooth. I don't really have any problems with that. There are some hiccups. There have been some times before I factory reset it that it just decided to like some things would be super choppy initially, and all you'd have to do is really reboot it and it would be fine. But it didn't do that often. So yeah, let's talk about the build now. It's and for all those people that like clean phones, keep in mind, I'm a human with greasy fingers. So there's not much I can do about that, but it's a beautiful phone. Like, I still think this phone is quite the looker today. It's the mirror gray, and I think this was the only color. I don't remember. But yeah, it's a very obelisk looking phone, and it's very nice looking. Like, the flash is like under the glass, where yeah, there's a camera bump, but it's not like Note 10 levels of bad, or even, let me see. It's about V60 levels, but the V60 is also thick. So that's something to keep in mind. The in-display fingerprint sensor is, while I don't love in-display fingerprint sensors, I prefer them on the back. It's nice. It's fast. It gets the job done. And unlike Samsung's like proximity sensor, which is very inconsistent and will still decide to scan you, try to scan a finger in your pocket and stuff like that. This, let me actually unlock it first. This will say when the proximity sensor is covered, it'll do that. And it'll just stay off in your pocket. Same with like the V60. Oh God, and of course it's getting darker. Let me do that real quick. But yeah, you cover the camera, which the proximity sensor is right by it, and it'll just make sure it'll go into pocket mode and it won't do anything. And that's something that's really nice. The fingerprint sensor is still really fast. Really fast, really smooth. And there's really nothing about it that I don't like. Buttons are still nice and clicky. Nothing feels like mushy or anything like that. The switch, the notifications, the vibration switch is still really nice too. I barely use it. I mainly have it on vibrate, but it feels very nice and nothing is really wrong about it. Yeah, the build on this is really good. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the best or the best looking phone out right now, obviously, but it's still a very good looking phone in my opinion. And some people that matters. To me, it really doesn't, but it's just something that I want to bring up. Display. So, display. It's a 1080p OLED, and it's very nice. It's actually one of the things that made me stop. It was one of the phones that made me stop caring if a phone had a quad HD display or not. It's a really quality panel. I don't have any like screen burn-in issues or botchiness or any sort of like. Obviously, there's gonna be like color shifting issues because it's an OLED, but I haven't had any of the more severe issues, and that's something that I would say matters a lot. And it's just something that I feel is very nice because a phone that has survived this long, like what, almost nearly 3 years, is something that I feel that it having a good display is nice. And I don't really have anything holding me back from saying that it'll last for even longer. Performance. So, performance is kind of a double-edged sword on here. When it comes to stuff like just the regular usage, right? Regular, like watching YouTube, playing the casual game, and say, like using the camera, using it as a phone, using it to listen to like stuff through Bluetooth or even corded if you have USB-C headphones or the adapter that came in the box. It works really well. This phone is still a screamer. It still feels very nice to use. I don't really have any problems with that. But the one thing that I would say, if you're a heavy gamer, to stay away from this phone, because especially if you live in a hot area and you don't have like AC, this phone gets hot. Like it gets really hot. Like there are times where it gets to like 69 degrees Celsius and I just can't touch the phone at all. Whereas say the V60, which I still don't know if it has thermal cooling or not. I don't know. The highest it'll get is like 55. And to me, that's something that's like, sometimes it'll nearly get to 70. And that's something that I feel is not good if you want to be a hardcore gamer. The 845 in here is still good for gaming. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I would advise you, if you don't have any, like, if you live in a hot area and you don't have any, like, say, any sort of like central air or like anything to keep you cool and the phone cool while gaming, it's not really that good of an experience after you use it. It does cool down pretty fast, so that's an upside. That's the upside of it. But in terms of like initial use, if you're just auto grinding or something like that, just leave the phone to do what it's doing and then come back to it when it's done. So yeah, performance is still good. And like I said, overall gaming is still like good, but it's like if you want to do heavy stuff, like say play Lineage 2 or say like Arena of Valor or like King of Fighters All Star. What's another game? King of Fighters All Star or Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross. Those demanding games, after a certain amount of time, will one drain the battery, and they will make the phone hot. So let's get into audio here now. Only one bottom firing speaker. It's fine. Like comparing it to the V60, which is like probably my standard right now for good speakers. Really good speakers. Like it really does trump like the Note 10, which was my first standard for speakers. But it's fine for a mono bottom firing speaker, right? It's not anything that's bad. Depending on, you know, say watching YouTube videos and stuff like that, depending on how the audio was mixed and stuff like that, it'll be louder. Oh God, it's out of frame. I'm sorry. It'll either get decently loud, but it'll still sound a bit muffled. And that's just something that I feel is kind of sucks that they didn't go for like at least some sort of like at least a stereo speaker setup, like a top and bottom setup like they do now with the OnePlus 8 Pro and stuff like that, 8 and 8 Pro. But it's not bad by any means. I would say it's like a 7 in terms of like speaker quality, but you know, it supports all the Bluetooth codecs as well. So if you want to use something like, say, these new Sony wireless earbuds and stuff like that, that support LDAC and all these like very good codecs for like streaming and stuff like that, then you'll be totally fine on that. In terms of corded audio, it's fine. Like you get a good pair of like USB-C headphones or something like that, or get a USB-C adapter for say your the IEMs that you like or anything like that, then you probably will be fine. Like say you get an MMCX to USB-C connector for say your short tapes, or I don't know about 10P1s. Those are a bit those are a bit finicky when it comes to, those are too sensitive in my opinion to try and use on a phone without a good DAC. But honestly, it's good. It's fine. Like they're not going to power Sennheiser HD 650s or anything like that, or 6XXs, but it's definitely not bad for casual listening. And that's something that when I did use it sometimes for listening, it was fine. And I didn't really have any issue with it. Back when I used it as like my podcasting phone, because I used to carry 2 phones. Now I don't. It was above average. Like compared to like my Note 10, which was like it was bad. Well, not bad, but it was like I get to work already like say 10, 15 minutes after leaving the house. The Note 10 would be on like 99. When I get to work, it's maybe on like 96. I start listening to Bluetooth stuff after the truck, which is 4 hours of my work basically, because it's like 2 trucks most nights. It goes down to like 80 or 70 sometimes. And when I get to the bus and start actually using the phone, it goes down to 40. This would at least stay at a decent like percentage. Like it would be, I don't know why I keep saying like, my bad, y'all. It would be at say like 70 when I get off work. It would get to maybe like, depending on what I'm doing on the phone, it would maybe be at like 60 or 50. And by the time I get home and start using it a little bit more heavily, it'll get down to like maybe 30, and I could just put on the charger for an hour and it'll be fully charged by the time I want to get to work. And the battery capacity, which is like 3750, I think, is totally good for what it is. It's definitely degraded over time, but it's not to the point where it's noticeable. It still gets a good amount of, like, say, I can still maybe get 7 or 8 hours of screen on time out of it. You're not going to get the insane 12 hours that you'll get on a V60 out of it or anything like that, but it's definitely fine. And it definitely beats the V60 in terms of charging speed as well. That's something that I feel you guys need to keep in mind, is that it charges in like an hour or an hour and 10 minutes, whereas the V60 from like 5% going to 100% will take like an hour and a half. So that's something that is very nice as well, but you also get a big 5,000 milliamp hour battery in the V60. So it's kind of the trade-off. Honestly though, after all of that, let's look at how much this phone costs now, because that's something that I would definitely want to show you guys, or at least tell you guys. OnePlus 6T. So some people are selling it from like 1.9, and that's a bid. So 255. That's also a bid, but that's at 215. $200, 223. Let's go to Swappa here. I always forget which folder is which. OnePlus 6T. And the OnePlus 6T is selling from $215. So it's about the same. Like, you can get it from like $130 to $215 at most. And to me, that's honestly where I feel. Honestly, I feel that's ample. Now let's compare that to something like the LG G8. The LG G8, $189. Or the V40. V-series phones tend to keep the value longer, but the V40 is less than the fucking. Well, the V40 also came out before the G8, but that's at like $155. Let's check the V50. The V50 is at $387. Jesus, Jesus, that's a jump. And the G8 and V50 came out the same year. But yeah, it's like, honestly, the 6T is still a really good phone. I use it every day. Still, even though I don't bring it to work because the V60 just does it all, and it does it all really well, the 6T does everything that I want to when I use it, no matter what, and it doesn't feel like I'm being hamstrung by anything. The only thing I never used it for, aside from initial testing, was music, because, well, LG phones have a quad DAC. And that was just not something I felt would be fair to judge it upon, because that's not what they're focusing on, right? But yeah, let me know in the comment section below, though, what you guys feel about this. Do you have a OnePlus 6T? Do you still use it to this day? Let me know in the comment section below. This is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the support. Thanks for 808 subscribers. I really do appreciate it. Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, share with people that are interested in this sort of content, and stay safe out there. With the US have all these protests, and obviously the health situation going on. Stay safe out there, you guys. Have a good one.